Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to the City Council meeting. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2025, 7 p.m. This council meets for the city of Jervis, and we are going to start, and we are called to order. First thing, if everyone would please rise, pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Second is a roll call. As usual, we start from the left. Councilwoman Geddes.
Here.
Councilwoman Wright.
Here.
Council President Wright.
Here.
Councilman Gould.
Here.
And
Here.
be here. Yes. Okay.
Basketball.
We currently have a quorum, so we're going to start. Thank you. All right, Rick, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
There is no additions to the agenda, but we are working off of the amended agenda that was published prior to this meeting. Should have an amended agenda. The only difference is the addition of item 5.5 involving the Tree City proclamation.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. The City Council values and welcomes public input on matters of city concerns. Please address the city as a whole rather than individual council members. The council may direct staff to resolve the issue or schedule the matter for further council discussion. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person with an optional 2 minutes for council questions and answers. If you wish to address the council, please come forward to the podium and identify yourself with name and address for the record.
Good evening, I'm Michael Johnson, 188 East Spur Drive, Jervis, 97726. I was here 3 months ago and I talked about dogs at that time. Some of you may remember that at my dog in July of this year here in town. I'm here again to talk about dogs. So since I was here 3 months ago, in that time, I've been accosted by dogs when I've been out walking in the community 4 times now. You know, doesn't seem like anything's been done since I was last year. You know, I know some of it's on the owners, but some of it's, I think, on the city too, not going far enough. Obviously, I would say probably not issuing enough citations to people that don't have their dogs under control. You know, it's one of those tools that we have to get people to come into compliance with those rules with dogs. So I'm here again to ask the city to put more emphasis on dog control here in town, because somebody's probably going to get attacked with the number of dogs that are just out of control here in town. So please do something about it. Thank you.
Michael, you actually called the non-emergency number for these? I can respect that. However, we all need to know that we only have 2 officers in town right now. Still, they're doing the best they can. There's a lot of things going on. We currently do not have a person set aside just for citations, but we do need to do it. You are correct. We're trying to get there right now. Thank you. Anyone else?
Michael, just for clarification, were they completely loose dogs, no owners around?
On one case, the owner was present. His dog did call for it. They did stop, but that's not the point. You wouldn't want it on a leash. You know, my view, it doesn't. If it's going to come at me at all, that dog's not a control unit. If it's soft, we call it. You need to have it under control.
Right, Chief, you see, you can address the dog problem a little bit more. Sit down. Thank you. Anyone else? Our next item on the agenda will be amended item 5.5, celebrate Arbor Month proclamation.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we have an annual tradition here, which we're catching up on. And essentially to maintain our annual process of a tree city, being designated a tree city. This proclamation is a part of the criteria for our application for that particular status. Traditionally, I understand this is done in April, but we're just trying to get it done within this calendar year. So staff is recommending that perhaps if you feel so inclined, or either read it or ask me to read it, and that the council approve this proclamation.
I motion to approve the Celebrate Arbor Month proclamation. I'll second.
We have a first motion and a second. Everybody approved, say aye.
Aye.
Against? At this moment, since it is a celebratory item, I'd like to read this into the motion or into the city council tonight. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provides habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, whereas they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. So I, Brian Wagner, Mayor of the City of Jervis, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Arbor Day for the City of Jervis.
Thank you very much.
Here's the next item is a presentation.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we have the representatives from Comcast with us this evening, led by Mr. Tim Goodman, that would like to educate, inform, enlighten us as to potential opportunities for their services to be offered within the city of Jervis. They have a PowerPoint presentation. With your permission, I'd like to introduce Tim Goodman and allow him to introduce his team to present what Comcast would like to share with the council and the community.
Please do.
Mr. Goodman. I need to put where my get.
You need to push the button.
Then push and hold.
And hold.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's a lot.
Hello.
Good evening, Mayor and council members, city staff, and residents that are here. Again, my name is Tim Goodman. I'm the Senior Director of Government Regulatory Affairs for Comcast NBC Universal. I work in the Pacific Northwest region, which is Oregon and Washington. My office is located up the road in Tigard. And I have a few of my colleagues with me tonight who are going to talk about a few little things. We'll make this really quick and so on. So I know you have other things going on. But the reason we're here is we are, as Rick mentioned, are interested in coming to Jervis, obtaining a cable television franchise agreement, and to provide your residents with all of our services, which are cable TV, broadband, Xfinity Mobile, our cell phone service, as well as home security and anything else that we provide. So a little bit about Comcast. Comcast is the largest media entertainment company in the world, but yet we're local. You know, I'm kind of, you know, as far as the government relations, and David is on my government affairs team, and I are kind of the face of the company when we deal with cities and counties in Oregon and Southwest Washington. We cover up to Longview, Washington, out of the Tigard office. And we have been in a build mode. A lot of that has been here in Marion County. Just in the last say 4 years, we've completed build outs in Hubbard. We started in Hubbard and then Woodburn. Then we built out Silverton, Angel. We have just finished recently within the last 6 to 8 months, Staten, Sublimity, and then we are looking at some other areas within the county and other places too, that where there may be smaller, maybe don't have multiple providers of broadband or even cable television. And so Jervis is on our list, and we would like to come here and offer our services and become a partner with the city. Currently in Oregon, we have franchises with over 70 cities and counties. We basically run from Springfield, Eugene in the south on I-5 and go up the I-5 corridor with offshoots like over to Silverton, like going way to Bend, down through like Lebanon, and Sweet Home, like up Corvallis, Willamette. So a lot of different areas, so a lot of small towns, and then of course we're in the Portland metro area and larger cities as well. But we have a number of smaller cities where we have partnerships, where we have cable franchise agreements. So in this case, starting off, we've provided Rick with a draft of what we would propose, which essentially it mirrors the Hubbard franchise agreement. So it'd be essentially the same. It won't, you know, we would negotiate through. It's not a real huge. Sometimes when you get into cable franchising, people hear about that, they think, oh my gosh, it's gonna be overwhelming. They're actually pretty simple, unless you get into like the more complicated, which we're going to see, like the city of Portland or Eugene, Salem, when they're really big, and those are a little bit more complicated. But so tonight we just want to kind of introduce ourselves to you, and so you know who we are. With me tonight, I mentioned David is on the government affairs team with me, and then Phil Curtis. Phil is our construction manager, and he's managed all the projects I've talked about that we've done in the last 3 to 4 years in Marion County. So he would be our boots on the ground, overseeing the project on a day-to-day basis. Would be kind of the communications person, like with Kyle, and dealing with, because we'd be using a right-of-way agreement, right away through the franchise agreement. And then Leslie comes from our sales and marketing team on the residential side. So she's going to share a little bit. Let me go back to Phil. Phil's going to talk a little bit about our construction methods and what we do to communicate with residents and businesses. So we don't, as we've got our teams in mooring or using aerial, depends on what's down that street. So to try not to complicate the lives of your businesses and residents and so on, to make that an easy process. And every now and then there's a little bump or whatever, but we're always available for the city to talk to. Then Leslie was going to talk a little bit about the services we offer, the types of services and that type of thing. And then David will talk a little bit about our availability, our stores and retail stores and things like that, about how we operate. And then if you have any questions after that, we're more than happy to talk about those. So, I forgot to leave.
I can do it for you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, you can just go to the next slide. Okay, yeah, a little bit more about the company. we've got, like I said, mentioned, we've got over franchises with over 70 cities and then counties in the area. I mentioned Hubbard and Woodburn. We're also, in Kaiser, we have a franchise agreement with Marion County. So we can provide service wherever in any unincorporated area of the county. So like in this instance, we'll be like expanding into Brooks and so on, because we're essentially coming from Woodburn and tying our fiber into Kaiser. And so we're picking up, we want to pick up service along the way into like Brooks and other areas, or folks may not have access to the broadband or cable TV. The one thing about this project as well is what it will be, what we call EPON, which is, it was all fiber. So traditional cable TV is where we have fiber to like what they call a node, and from there we have coax cable that would go to houses. All of our new builds now are all fiber to the home, which provides us a lot more flexibility and where we can provide higher speeds and that type of thing for broadband. We've got a little over 1,000 employees in Oregon alone. We have field offices like in that provide maintenance, like in Corvallis and Salem and Tigard, and that where the cable guys and girls that are out there installing and so on, that's where they work out of those. We've got a number of other ones too, but those are the ones that are closer to you. And part of that, we've got over 80,000 miles of fiber just in Oregon, and we are continuing to expand. So with that, let's go to the next slide. Gone through the franchise agreement. So the franchise, a little bit more on that is in a cable franchise agreement, we have to abide by laws that are set by the federal government through the Cable Act. And so part of that, because we're a cable television, we would pay the city a franchise agreement, which is set by federal law. It can go lower, but we usually pay at the high end, which is the top of it, which is of the scale, which is 5% of our gross revenues, and those would be paid to the city. And we typically pay those quarterly, and those are things that will be spelled out in the franchise agreement itself. I've already talked a little bit about our expansion, especially here in Marion County. So these are things that would be worked out. We would work with Rick and whatever legal you would need on your end, but on the Comcast end, it will be me. And I'm not an attorney or anything. I just do these franchise agreements and other things with the company. So with that, I'm going to have Phil come up, and you can go, yeah, that side, that's perfect. And Phil's going to talk a little bit about the construction side of things and what we do and how we operate.
Thank you, Tim.
Tim said, my name is Phil Curtis. I will be managing the construction piece of it. I take the project on basically from the time we get franchised all the way to where we've completed restoration and QC. I'll try and keep this high level. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole with all the pieces to it. But once we get a franchise, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reach out to you guys, and we're going to talk through the permitting, what it is you guys need. We're going to sit down and give you examples of what it is we've used with other projects. And then we're going to fine tune that to what meets your guys' needs so that we're, making the most of your time. Obviously, you're going to have limited resources compared to a bigger city like Portland. So we want to, give you what you need and remove all the junk out of it. Once we've got the permitting figured out, we're going to sit down with you. We're going to set ground rules. I mean, obviously, dig laws, your construction standards, permit request, or your special conditions on the permit, and that are going to dictate those things. But we're going to sit down with you guys, our contractors, everybody, and kind of set the ground rules, make sure everybody knows who everybody is. So if there ever is an issue, you have a person of direct contact. Once we've got all that stuff worked out, we have signage we're going to put out. The one thing we've learned with these is communication is a huge thing. Nobody wants to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and come home at 5 and see some random stranger in their yard digging, or anything as far as that goes. So before we ever stick a shovel in the ground or anything, we're going to have signs up letting people know that, hey, we're coming. And then once we get going, if you could jump to the next slide, we've got several different ways we're communicating with people. You know, one of the big ones you'll see to the side, our contractors use a sign which has a QR code and a phone number on there. That's gonna give them direct contact to our contractor. If they have a question, that person's gonna have the most up-to-date information when they're gonna be there working in front of their home or anything. Aside from that, at the time, if it's underground or if we're coming hanging area, we're gonna come through and we're gonna hang door hangers, which I've got examples of those here also. Those as well are gonna give a QR code, and then the one that has our contractor's info also gives their phone number. So that's gonna give them a direct line of contact to the project manager that's gonna have the most up-to-date information. The other thing we've used, I don't know if you guys have a social media page, but we've had great luck, you know, getting a message out on social media. We've done this in state and sublimity, and then, you know, you get your small community groups in there, those messages get shared to those, so it gets it out to everybody. So I think that would really be it. I mean, as far as construction goes, I mean, no matter what, you know, there's certain people, you're not always gonna make them happy. We've got inspectors on site every day. If there's an issue, they can jump over there and address it right away. If it's past the scope of what they can do, it's gonna come to me, and then we'll address it. And if we need to, you know, we'll work with you guys to find a happy means. Most of the time, it's never gonna reach a point that it comes to you. We try to, again, keep everything under wraps on our own so that we're not, you know, using your limited resources, and you guys can, you know, focus on the things that your day-to-day jobs instead of, you know, us wrapping up all your time. Once everything's all done, you know, we're gonna walk it all out. We're gonna QC it, make sure that we patched up all the holes, we plugged everything we were supposed to do, and we're complete. So that would really, I mean, that's kind of the high level overview. So, yeah. Did you guys want to see these at all, or, I mean, I can leave them here if you guys want to look through them or whatever. Okay, perfect.
Info.
Good evening, and thank you all for your time. My name is Leslie Fowl. I am the Senior Marketing Manager for the PNW region here. We do Oregon, Washington. And my part in this is actually the fun part. So I get to come in and get everybody excited about all the services and products that we have to provide. We provide, you know, the X1, which is our entertainment packages. And I don't know if you've heard our new campaign, the Imagine That campaign. So we really try to make sure that we are taking care of everybody's preferences. We've got a great sports package out there. We've got great, you know, our campaign with Frank. Frankenstein. We actually get to come in and have not just the entertainment, the X1, but we've got, first we talked about the mobile packages. We have the home security packages, which are really important, and the home solutions, so you can have those total peace of mind. We still do have the landlines to effect too, so if that is what you're looking for. One of the things I wanted to touch on also is that when we come into a community, we have authentic and genuine partnerships with the community, different groups. We've done this in all of the, I'm really proud because I get to kind of actually build those out and work with my partners. We reach out to the community and we try to find out what it is that we can do to come alongside and be, again, authentic partners like Phil talked about and Tim talked about. We really want to come in and not just provide service. We want to be a part of the community, be a fabric of what's going on, and make sure that if there's an opportunity for us to enhance what's going on here, we want to do that. I don't know if you've heard, but we had done infrastructure for the Mount Angel Oktoberfest, where we, on our own, just because we wanted it to be a safe event for them, we came in and provided infrastructure for Wi-Fi throughout the whole festival. So we love doing that, and that's something we like to come into in different partners. We've done that with St. Paul, even though we don't have service up there yet. It's just we're excited to partner with them. We have the biggest ecosystem with the most advanced technology. We keep that, and again, as Phil and Tim talked about, we are laying the most advanced fiber so that we can make those changes as advancements happen. So we're really excited about that too. And so what my job is to make sure everybody knows, make sure that everybody gets excited about what's happening. And again, I also am local. I'm just up the street there in Tigard, and we'll be open and happy to talk to anybody and any questions along the way. So there you go.
Interesting.
Evening, everybody. My name is David Harden. I'm also based in the Tigard office. I'm a manager of external government and community affairs with Comcast. One of the things that happens when we come out to a community is not only do we bring our continuous investment in our infrastructure, we're also relentless about reliability. So outages, speeds, all of those things are very important to us. In regards to innovation, I've been with the company 13 years. Started selling 50 megabits per second. Now we offer multi-gigabit symmetrical speeds over our all fiber network, which is really cool. Another thing that sets us apart is we have local retail stores. So we're down the street in Kaiser. We're also in Salem. We also have a few other retail stores that are within about a 30-minute drive. We're out in Pindle, we're in Newburgh. And so putting stores close to where our customers are is something that's very important to us. Not only that, Tim mentioned we have over 1,000 employees in the state of Oregon. Our employees live, work, and play in our footprint. And so we always bring people, which is the best part of our services, our people. Lastly, I just want to touch on some of the community investments, and Leslie alluded to that. We like to form strong partnerships with community-based organizations where we do business, especially when our goals align. And that's something that's really important to us. When we went out to Woodburn, we did some work with their Boys and Girls Club, with their teen center. We were able to provide some digital solutions training and also offer some technology gifts. So that's something that's also important to us as well. That's what I really had to say today. And then I'd just like to open it up for any questions that you might have, but our team is going to stay. And if we talk after the meeting, that's fine as well. Or we all have our contact information. You can reach out to us.
You want to council any questions? Yeah, come on.
I first, I think thank you for presenting. When you wanted to be Jersey, we had Comcast around high school, so I've had it for a long time. But I will be honest, we have an exceptionally good service here currently that contributes to our community and financially for things like events and things like that. I also believe they have a fairly good franchise agreement. I wonder what benefits it serves service to expand somewhere else. I mean, are you willing to match whatever their agreement is? Like you said 5%, but I can't recall off the top of my head, but like it might be higher with them. Would you be able to go higher for us?
So the difference is, I think the other provider has a telecom franchise with you all, and this is be a cable franchise. So we offer video services in addition to everything else. And so by law, we would pay 5% on the video services, but at the FCC, there's what's called a mixed use rule. And so we pay on the video only as a cable company versus paying anything on broadband and so on. So so it's a 5% on the video, and we have never gone higher than that. That's an amount set by federal law.
But correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys communicate, you would to some degree cannibalize our broadband as well, correct?
I don't know. Cannibalize is the best way to work, but we compete. You know, like in Woodburn, there was somebody already there. In every place we've gone, there's somebody else. What this does, and that used to be something that never happened, but there was a big expansion that came out of COVID, essentially, where people started, whether people would go in where somebody already is. And what that does is it provides your residents as well as your business an option. So they can go with one or the other, so they're not stuck with say one. And I don't mean to say stuck with nothing said about your current provider, but it does give again the residents and businesses an option to go with one or the other. And then it does provide the video product that I don't think that you guys have now, other than satellite. So that's a little bit of the difference.
That was kind of my question, or more of a concern is, would you create competition, or would you push out our current provider?
We've dealt with this with, like everywhere we've built out, and nobody's left. In, say, Estacado, which is in Clackamas County, there was a smaller provider there, they're still there. They can compete with us and, and everywhere we are, like in Silverton, there's, actually three big providers, like Ziply, us, and Wave Astound is there as well. So it's just kind of how the broadband world and cable has progressed. There was kind of a perception that, cable TV has monopoly, but like in, Woodburn, Wave is there and they provide all the same services we do except the mobile. And, the cable TV and broadband and such, and, they're still there, and we finished building out there, I want to say 3.5 to 4 years ago.
Another piece of that, you said the 5% is as high as you guys go. Again, I think everybody who lives here is very conscious and aware of how much division is helping our community. And I think there's a fear, and I was speaking for myself more than anybody else, that it would weaken them to have you here. And that's not really my purview, but my concern is they contribute so much to us for our praise and things like that. Would we be able to see that same kind of partnership from Comcast contributing that kind of funds to our city?
Yeah, we have a history of coming in, like we've mentioned, of being a partner, or we get involved with schools and other community events, nonprofits and things like that. So, David had mentioned earlier, we did some stuff at the Boys and Girls Club Annex up in Woodburn, where we put in what's called the lift zone, which is like Wi-Fi and stairways, and gave away free laptops to kids that were there. And part of that is, their what we call digital opportunity, or we provide those kinds of things. And then, like with that lift zone at the club there, not everybody has broadband at home, or maybe they can afford it. And so that's the place they can go and they can access it and get high-speed internet, through that partnership. We also offer our Internet Essentials program, which is a low-cost program for individuals and families, and anybody who's on any type of federal assistance essentially qualifies for that. It's like $15 a month. And so we provide broadband through that as well. But we have, a number of partnerships that we maintain, pretty much everywhere we go. Chambers of commerce, whatever it may be, like I said, the schools, nonprofits, and such. And we would look at identifying potential partnerships here, and we're not trying to run Data Vision off. We're just, we're looking at expanding, and that's just kind of the way of the broadband world these days.
Yeah, those all sound fantastic. I think it's fantastic to do that. Everything you said, though, is within the ecosystem of your business model, of internet and things like that. Where I'm talking about actually contributing to community events. Is that something you guys do?
But I do, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Yes, we absolutely do. That's one of the things that I was didn't do such a great job of explaining, but if you talk to Emily at Woodburn or people at Silverton, we participate in their annual events and festivals and parades. Anytime we will reach out to them, or they'll actually reach out to us, having established that partnership once that, we've come into a place, we just, we really do want to have an authentic relationship with them. And so I've had a great time. Last year I did the Christmas parade at Sublimity in Staten last year, and it was a great time. So we have, and our tech ops, I have to say too, again, I'm not running all the time, but I will say that because, as they talked about, we have people who work and live in these areas, they really push and advocate for us to become involved in things that they and their kids do, and that they love to do. And that talks about they like to bring the big ladder trucks out and have those in the parades. So yes, to answer your question.
The only thing I'm going to discuss right now basically is Juris, even as diverse as we are, we're still a pretty tight community. We take care of our own in town here. We have a competition come in, that's great, it's awesome. But I also think it's going to be really up to the residents what the majority thinks is best for the city. So I'm almost concerned, not concerned, I'm just considering maybe doing a survey with comparison. Here's what we currently have, here's what could be coming to town. Seeing what the residents actually might think about it.
I agree, that's a good idea. I have one last question on the franchise fee. The 5% gross, is that just gross from this area or is that your combined?
That is from, sorry, it's from Jervis itself. Yeah, so like, I'll just use, since Woodburn's right up the road, you know, we pay them 5% of, you know, our gross revenues on video services, and that's the way it is in every city or county where we serve. It's the same amount.
I don't know how to ask it the right way, but what is that residential commitment that gets you up that high? Like how many households?
You're talking about the 5%?
Yes.
Or, yeah, it's, if there's 5 or there's 100, it's all the same. It's 5% of that, of the gross revenues that are derived off the video services that are purchased by customers.
So do you know approximately how much Woodburn has right now?
No, I mean, how much we're paying them, so what you're asking.
That's why I said I didn't know how to ask the right question.
Yeah, I don't have that right off of my head, you know, that's kind of they could tell you, that's in their budget. It's something we typically don't talk about other cities and provide somewhat confidential, but it's gonna be in their budget.
Yeah, we can certainly.
And I know you've answered this already, but I just want to make 100% sure I clarify this. The 5% video is all you offer your broadband services, and we get no franchise agreement on that list. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
And around that, there's a whole complicated piece around paying on broadband services, which you get into if someone's what they call an ILEC, which is an incumbent local exchange provider, meaning a phone company. And then there's some that we're classified as like a CLEC, competitive local exchange carrier.
Sure.
And so there are Oregon laws that dictate some stuff, but it's the FCC decided in September of 2019 that like a cable company pays 5% of the right-of-way fee for cable services only.
I very much appreciate it. I'm trying to like build it up, just trying to understand.
No worries. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. In fact, just, you know, I left cards up there, I think, for all of you. I don't know if did you get one, Justin?
It's good.
Okay, yeah. All right. Feel free, any questions, you know, after tonight that you have or are concerns or whatever, feel free to, my phone number's on there or my email. Feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming. Next item on the agenda is going to be approval of the consent calendar. We have approval of minutes for November 6th city council meeting and October 23rd council work session with the school board. Has everybody had a chance to read through it?
There is a editorial correction on the minutes of November 6th council meeting, in which our city's attorney's presence is not listed as the people that were present, though he did speak at the meeting. So I would ask that whatever motion is made that it include editorial correction of the presence of the city attorney
Yeah.
at that meeting. Since he spoke.
With his mustache.
Everybody's had a chance to read it. Do we have anybody who wants to make a motion to include the conditions of approval? Recommended first condition.
I motion to approve the minutes for November 6th city council meeting with the added amendment of the addition of our city attorney. I second. Both calendars, yes.
All right, we have a motion to second. All those in favor of approving it, say aye.
Aye.
All approved. Thank you, Rick. Next item on the agenda is old business, public hearing and ordinance, alley vacation for vacation number 2025-01.
Mr. Mayor and Council, our city planner is with us via video for this particular business item. You should have a script in front of you for this particular public hearing business item as it relates to the street vacation, alley vacation.
Oh, thank you. All right, we're going to be opening the hearing for public hearing for the Juris City Council, December 4th, 2025. Good evening. My name is Brian Wagner. I'm the mayor of the city of Juris, and I will be presiding over this hearing. This is the time and place set forth to continue public hearing in the matter of file number vacation 2025-01, public alley vacation petition for block 18, Juris Elementary School. The continued hearing is now open. It is 7:41 p.m. Oregon land use law requires several items to be read to the record at the beginning of every public hearing. The city planner will review this material. Your patience is appreciated as she goes through those statements. City planner Holly Baird.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I apologize. I have to read the script through audio here. The applicable substantive criteria upon which this case will be decided are found in the Oregon Revised Statutes 271.080 through 271.230. The specific criteria are summarized in the staff report and will be reviewed at this hearing. All testimony and evidence received during this public hearing must be directed toward these approval criteria or to such other rule, law, regulation, or policy which you believe apply to this case. An issue which may be the basis for an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals shall be raised no later than the close of the record at or following the final evidentiary hearing on this case. Such issues shall be raised with and accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford this body and the parties to this hearing an adequate opportunity to respond to each issue. This case will proceed with the staff report and any other comments from governmental agencies in attendance, followed by those in support of the application. All those opposed to the application will then be allowed to speak, followed by those with general comments who are neither for nor against the application. And finally, the applicant will be entitled to a rebuttal period. All speakers should try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please submit a speaker card completed with your name and mailing address directly to the city manager. Please state your name clearly for the record. Please try to avoid repetition. If someone else has already expressed the same thoughts, it's perfectly all right to state that you agree with the statements of that previous speaker. Please be assured that everyone will have an opportunity to speak. If you have documents, maps, or letters that you wish to have considered by this body, they must be formally placed in the record of this proceeding. To do that, either before or after you speak, please leave the material with city staff who will make sure your evidence is properly taken care of. Prior to the conclusion of the first hearing on a land use application, any participant may request a continuation to present additional evidence or testimony regarding the application. Thank you for your patience.
With that being out of the way, I need to ask the audience and fellow councilors a few questions. First, does any member of the audience have any objection to the notices that was published? Second, does any member of the audience wish to challenge the jurisdiction of the city council to hear this matter? Third, does any member of the city council wish to declare a potential or actual conflict of interest?
I need to declare that I'm a school employee.
I'll save you, and I'll save the rest of the council. Anybody who disclosed when we held the hearing in November, you don't have to redisclose because that's part of the record. In this case, this is a continued hearing, so it'll only be new conflicts of interest or site visits or ex parte contacts that were previously discussed.
Thank you, Tyler. Number 4, does any member of the city council wish to declare a bias? Number 5, does any member of the city council wish to report any site visits or ex parte contacts? And lastly, does any member of the audience or council wish to challenge the impartiality or ex parte disclosures of any member of the city council? City Planner Holly Byram, please give the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. For the record, my name is Holly Byram, and I work at the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. I serve as the contract city planner for the city of Jervis and a couple others in the region. My goal this evening is to help the council understand the decision criteria in front of them when considering this application. So as the mayor stated, this is a continued public hearing from the November 6th City Council meeting. For that reason, I'll just be brief in my staff report. We have heard the details of this application, but this is a petition for the city to vacate a public alley right-of-way. And this is located in Block 18 of the Jervistown Plat. And this is bound by 1st Street, 2nd Street, Douglas Avenue, and Cedar Avenue. More specifically, this runs under the Jervis Elementary School building. And so, again, just to recap the history here, this specific alley was thought to be vacated decades ago when the abutting alleys and streets were vacated under the elementary school campus. However, the city and county and applicant could not find evidence that it had been officially vacated. So this is more of a housekeeping effort. Last month, we went through the staff report and we looked at the exhibits. There's an aerial photo that shows the location of the alley under the school building, as well as a street view. The criteria the City Council needs to consider is found in the Oregon Revised Statutes, and there are 3. The first is whether the consent of the owners, the property owners, was collected by the applicant. The second is whether the notice was duly given, and the third is whether the public interest will be prejudiced by the vacation. So last month we went through these different criteria. At the end of the evening, after we heard the applicant's presentation and allowed all interested members of the public to speak, of which I don't believe there were any, the City Council continued by motion this public hearing so that staff could mail out the final notice to all of the affected property owners. So that notice has been mailed. So at this time, you'll see at the end of the staff report a recommendation from staff to approve the submitted vacation petition and then to direct staff to present an enacting ordinance. And you'll find that ordinance is also on the agenda this evening, the first reading of that ordinance. So again, staff is recommending approval this evening. I don't know that you'll have any additional testimony from either the applicant or the public, but I do encourage you to allow that public testimony to occur. As far as I know, there's been no public testimony submitted to City Hall in writing. Maybe perhaps Rick or Desiree could confirm that, but I am not aware of any public comments. So that completes my staff report, and I'm happy to answer questions if you have any.
Thank you, Ellie.
Mhm.
We still got to continue with testimonies and other information, right? Yes, sir. Thank you, sure. Are there any other members of the staff who would like to add comments to this report?
The recommended motion is on page 16 of the council packet.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff from the council before we continue to accept public testimony? We'll continue with public testimony. First will be proponents. I'll now accept public testimony regarding this case. Is there anyone who would like to speak in support of the application?
I would like to speak, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, city councilors, and city staff. My name is Sam Huck. I work for 3J Consulting, representing the school district. Our address is 9600 Southwest Nimbus Avenue, Suite 100 in Beaverton, Oregon. I just wanted to just say that I've reviewed the revised staff report from Holly. I appreciate your all time again this evening for this consideration and, continuing to work with us, our team and the district on, the multitude of applications that have come before you all. So just wanted to say that we believe that we meet the approval criteria for this vacation petition. And I can answer any questions if there are any at this time, but thought I'd just keep it short and sweet.
Thank you very much. No other proponents? We'll move on to opponents. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone neutral? Is there anyone who would like to speak neither for or against the application? Are there any last public questions or comments? As a reminder, the applicant has the final word in the rebuttal. Next, with the applicant. Well, there's nothing to respond to. There's nobody else testifying. Would staff like to add any final comments? No.
Nothing further from me.
Thank you, Ollie. Before I close the public hearing, are there any additional questions from the councilors or staff or anyone? As a reminder, once I do close the hearing, only councilors or staff may speak. Public testimony is now closed. Close the public testimony hearing at 7:52 p.m. I'll now entertain city council discussion on the applicant and or motion.
I motion to approve the submitted vacation petition number VAC 2025-01 for public alley right of way in block 18 to adopt the staff findings and recommend conditions of approval and direct staff to present an enacting ordinance.
I'll second.
We have a motion second, and we'll do a roll call vote, starting from left. Councilwoman Geddes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wright.
Aye.
Council President Wright.
Aye.
Councilman Geddes.
Aye.
And Councilman Gold.
Aye.
All ayes approved. Next item on the agenda appears to be the second reading and adoption of ordinance 25005-AN. Ordinance granting a non-inclusive telephone franchise to Jervis Telephone Company.
Mayor Wagner and council, on page 18 of your council packet is the proposed ordinance, which you did a first reading at the last council meeting, and a motion to do the second reading would be in order if you so desire. And if it's approved, then a motion to adopt the ordinance. The general manager and city friend is in the audience this evening if you wish to question.
The council's have anything to discuss on this, or would you like to make a motion? Read the ordinance.
I motion to adopt ordinance number, by title only, number 25-005, granting a non-exclusive telephone franchise to Jervis Telephone Company efficient.
Is the motion to accept it now, or do we not have to discuss it first?
The
To read
motion,
it, read it first.
the motion would be to approve the reading by title.
Approve, read by title. That was a motion.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, with there being a motion and a second, we're not going to take a vote. All those in favor, accepting it, say aye.
Approving the reading.
Approving,
Just to
thank you
clarify
again,
for the record.
approving the reading of the minute of the ordinance.
Aye.
Thank you. City Attorney,
Ordinance 25-005, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive telephone franchise to Jervis Telephone Company. Flash data vision. You guys are sleepy tonight.
yes. Now we will need a motion to accept the second and final reading of ordinance.
About the ordinance.
I motion to move and accept the second and final reading of ordinance 25-005.
Second reading of the document.
No.
But we do still need a second.
We need a second, please.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, second. Any other discussions before we take a roll call vote? All right, we'll take a roll call vote, starting from the left. Councilman Geddes. Councilman Wright. Council President Wright.
Aye.
Councilman Geddes.
Aye.
And Councilman Gould.
Aye.
You have all ayes. New business is the next item on the agenda. Next item is ordinance number 2026-01, which is the first reading. This is an ordinance vacating the 20-foot wide by 200-foot wide public alley right away within block 18 bound by Cedar Avenue, Douglas Avenue, First Street and Second Street.
A motion to approve motion to do the second reading.
It's the first reading of the
First reading and set the second reading for January 8th.
We have a motion.
We have yours, Greg. You have this, Greg.
We're just making a motion to read this.
Yes.
Motion to
Schedule second.
I move to read ordinance 26-001 for the first time by title only.
Any discussions?
Second.
We have a second. Other discussions? All right, first time to be voted by voice. To approve the reading of ordinance 2026 for the first time by title only. Everyone that approves, say aye.
Aye.
All ayes.
Ordinance number 26-001, an ordinance vacating the 20-foot wide by 200-foot long public alley right of way within block 18 bound by Cedar Avenue, Douglas Avenue, First Street and Second Street.
Thank you, Tyler. Do we have a motion to accept the first reading of the ordinance?
I move to accept the first reading of the ordinance 26-001.
On second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussions before we make a vote? We can start with the roll call vote on this one. Councilwoman Geddes.
Aye.
Councilman Wright.
Aye.
Council President Ray,
Aye.
Councilman Geddes, and Councilman Gould.
Aye.
Second and final reading will be at the January 8th.
January 8th, the next one for the second reading. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is 9 Bravo. Resolution 2025-013, a resolution reactivating the Planning Commission per Chapter 2 of the City of Jervis Municipal Code.
Mr. Mayor and Council, there's been some significant goal setting and prioritization by council as it relates to what you would like to see happen during the upcoming 18 to 24 months. Near the very top of that list was the concept of reestablishing our planning commission. We have a planning commission established within our code. It has not been active. So I felt that the most appropriate process was to formally be directed by council in the form of a resolution to reestablish a planning commission and provide you with the current guidelines, which we can change, that are part of the book, so that we can start hopefully the publicity and recruitment of members for the planning commission at the 1st of 2026. So the goal tonight is just more or less to direct council and direct staff to proceed with the reestablishment of the planning commission as currently established, knowing that we are going to want to visit our guidelines, our roles and responsibilities, but allowing us to move forward in that particular goal, which the council has clearly prioritized in their conversations in the last 2 months.
Thank you, Rick. This resolution, is there any discussion about the council? We already discussed this enough. All right, we please get a motion to accept the reactivation.
I motion to reactivate the planning commission for chapter 2 of the City of Jervis Municipal Code, resolution 2025-13.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll take a roll call vote as it's a resolution. On the left, Councilwoman Geddes.
Aye.
Councilman Wright.
Aye.
Council President Wright.
Aye.
Councilman Geddes.
Aye.
And Councilman Gould.
Aye.
All ayes, heard.
By consensus from council, I would like to proceed with the formal recruiting and posting. I don't have a motion, I just want to make sure that council wants me to proceed.
Yes.
Definitely, in order to have this resolution, you need that. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the third item on the new business. Now we are down to staff reports. First of all, will be city manager, Rick.
Ollie, are you still on? Okay. So, you have a written staff report, which was more of a synopsis of 2025, that was in your council packet. A couple of things that I would like to touch upon this evening. We've had more inquiries about food trucks in the last 2 months than I think we have in the last 2 years. However, we as a city have not exactly kept up with updating our codes and our expectations and the rules and the regulations. What we do have is a temporary merchant code that allows for temporary merchants, which could include food trucks, but limits it to 45 days. Well, that's not exactly, I don't think, the direction we want to go. Food trucks, we talk about economic development, they're sort of the stepping stone to get businesses going. And we've had both two property owners now engaged with potential of food trucks. And going beyond 45 days in business, because if I'm gonna have a food truck, I'm not gonna want to have a 45-day limit. This evening, we limit it. They can ask for time extensions, and I can grant them time extensions if I deem appropriate as your city manager. But many cities have adopted new food cart standards in recent years. And they can get a little complicated. Do we allow generators? Do we require them to be diesel? Et cetera, et cetera. Water, wastewater, garbage service. All these intricacies of running and operating a business, especially when it's not in a stone structure facility. I would add that there are regulations by the county and the state as it relates to food preparation, requirements for refrigeration and things like that. But what we do not really have in place is the many standards of aspects as it relates to what we require as a part of the operation of food trucks. Nor do we have in place a process which allows them for anything beyond our current temporary immersion code of 45 days. I'm asking for your guidance and approval to start the research and put this on as a first project for the planning commission, but start the groundwork of what it is we want to be looking at in the future. But I don't wish to spend staff time working on this unless council is on board as it relates to this being unacceptable business practice within some areas of our community.
How many inquiries have you had?
3 within the last 2 months.
All right, 'cause I remember over 10 years ago, this was brought up because of a coffee trailer truck that I wouldn't bring to town, but there was, again, issues and challenges that was allowed at that time.
Well, I mean, that may have happened 10 years ago. I will say to me at least, there's a vast difference between coffee and food. Someone probably won't drive across town for coffee, but if it's really good food, they will.
Right.
So like, we are closer to the outlet mall than say the cart place over on the way to Hubbard. This sounds like a fantastic opportunity. My question really is this something we even have to wait for the planning commission for you to start looking into? Because you talk about this, I mean, I love this idea.
I intend to proceed, and we'll see how the timing, whether or not we wait for the planning commission. But I do intend to proceed, but based upon council blessing.
Please, I think it's a missed opportunity here, so.
Other staff report stuff. I have made a job offer, a tentative job offer to a police chief candidate. Tuesday afternoon, we started the background process. It would be my hope, though I may have rose-colored glasses, that by our January 8th meeting, we would be in a position to move forward with that particular hiring. We did not get a lot of interest, but we did get, a couple choices. And we're moving forward in that particular direction. We are just finishing up on the background on another candidate for a police officer position. And that one sort of in flux at this point where I need to sit down with law enforcement staff and the city attorney and make a determination as to whether or not we're going to move forward. So I have been active in that particular arena. Also, I have been putting a more than fair percentage of my time in our finances, and I anticipate that I will see a draft audit for 23-24 on my desk by a week from today. I would anticipate that around January 13th, that the budget committee and the council, including the council, will be sitting down with the auditor to visit about that. And right now, the timeline is in mid-January, we'll be starting the 24-25 audit. I will be filing for what's called an extension with the Secretary of State's office, as we will not complete the 24-25 audit by December 31st. And if you don't complete it by that time, you may be required to file a extension request with the Secretary of State's office. Other than that, I think that's all I have to share this evening, but I would be happy to answer questions regarding those topics or anything else you wish to inquire.
Or just for words from chief, his position, it's whoever the officers, we haven't seen it, so it's within the budget. Or
Yes.
Something that we'll have to discuss with the budget committee. Go ahead. Good then.
Thank you.
Other questions for the city manager? All right, police department. Mr. Macho.
So for the period between October 30th to November 19th, we had 48 calls for service, 3 arrests, 22 traffic stops, 2 traffic citations, 20 traffic warnings. We assisted other agencies 3 times, and 3 ordinance violations. During the month of November, our administrative assistant Crystal attended 2 conferences. One was for our Mark 43 reporting system, and the other was for evidence. Those conferences provided her with valuable knowledge and training, which allowed the police department to stay up to date on innovative trends, become more efficient, and partner with other agencies.
Standard return training, even for the departments. Works, Kyle.
Hello, it's great to be back at work after an extended leave. Nice to see everyone's face here. I'd like to start off by thanking Joe and Rick for really pitching in and making sure I didn't have a big backlog of my returns. Thank you very much. Doesn't sound like too many things went wrong while I was gone, which is good. No catastrophes or anything. It's very nice. Want to update you, in early November, the new pump and motor for the booster pump in the water plant was delivered. Electricians have been working on preliminary install this week, hoping for electrical permit issuance soon. They're hoping by middle of next week to potentially have the pump mill online. There's still some more work there, and we'll see how that counts. We also took delivery of a bunch of new street signs. They used to spill in work, but replaced a lot of the old worn and faded signs you can't see in the dark, just unsightly. A lot of housekeeping. We wanted to do that for a while. We were able to accomplish that this year, so you'll be seeing them go up throughout town. And here in about 2 weeks, OHA, the Oregon Health Authority, you're conducting basically every 5 years water system survey, come through, kind of knock the cobwebs back, make sure OPPA operations, everything, staff training, policies are being followed on that. So that'll be nice. Get through that. Don't expect to find anything there. We have been maintaining what they call an outstanding performer, participating in mechanic status. beginning of November, we started our discharge season, with our wastewater, so that a lot more stringent supplies, a lot more testing and that, with this coming weather, over the next week, we're gonna put our new, transfer pumps to its largest test yet. I think I read there's an anticipated 7+ inches of rain coming. So that should be very interesting. Earlier in the year, when the pumps come online, it has some other systems, but not like potential. On that note, beginning tomorrow, we should have sandbags and sand delivery for any kind of emergency situations. Feel free to contact City Hall staff. If they're available with people to assist in bagging, if we do experience any kind of flood. And then just to wrap up, about 6 weeks ago, our case 580L backup experienced a pretty substantial hydraulic failure where the hose line structure is very deep inside of it. They had a tech come out to replace that and give a preliminary estimate or what kind of work he recommends. It appears to be fairly substantial on that. So we had to patch it up for this time. It is still operation, being 30+ years old. With the hydraulic system, he recommended replacing just about every hose on it that had not been replaced by staff in the last couple of years, just due to safety. We're working with live loads suspended in the air, potentially. We're assessing and looking at the overall other condition, potentially make any kind of recommendations for repairs. We'll keep you up on that. But otherwise, that's about it.
Yeah, those hoses, if I remember right, they have no life limits, don't they? Does it remain rubber?
They do, and being that our facility is housing a lot of other equipment that does stay outside year round, so it's exposed to UV rays from the sun.
Any questions, Public Works?
Do you need to pursue funding for a new backhoe?
I don't think we're at that point yet. It is a possibility. We do want to have 2 other things checked out and get professionals before we make any kind of recommendation. It is a possibility. This particular one's over 30 years old. A lot of hours, but it gets used a bunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Go to the question form. We're gonna move on to the register. Everybody in council had a chance to read through it. Are there any questions?
John Deere charging us for the statements. I just had a question on that because it says statements supplies. Some places now charge if you get a paper statement because they want you to do everything online. Like get your statement online and we won't charge you. I was just curious if they're charging us to receive the statements.
No,
Yeah.
Validation, my bridge team is going to continue until we actually have the budgets done, updated. I have no report except for I hope everybody shows up Saturday, 6 p.m. out here for the Christmas lighting ceremony. I heard Santa Claus is going to be in town. You might even be driving around on the back of this fire truck again. That's all I have. Nothing for the council. All right, it is 8:19 and we are now adjourned. Thank you all for showing up.